Hey, what's going on, everybody? I hope you're having an excellent day. I'm doing all right. And today is a Saturday. We're just kind of chilling out, and allow me to get right into today's topic. Allow me to get right into today's topic. There we go. Okay. Today's topic is going to be called The Danger of Do What Thou Wilt. Do what you will. Okay. The danger of do what thou wilt. Okay. Aleister Crowly was a rather famous occultist from the past who is known for his various ideals that went against the grain. Okay? His philosophy, known as Thelema, stems from one sentence. Okay? Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. So, my opinion on this, do what thou wilt. Okay, if you take it to the extreme, it is a bad thing. Why? Because it leads to lawlessness and anarchy. Okay? Because sure, when I was younger, especially when I was like 14 to 19, I was like, yeah, thinking about like Machiavelli and things like the ends justify the means. So no matter what you have to do to get there, it's okay. If you have to run over a few dead bodies on your way there, it's fine as long as you get to the destination. How foolish was I to have thought that in the past, okay? Because now I'm on the opposite side of history. But let's get into this, okay? So, for a confused person looking for answers, this is a statement that many will instantly gravitate towards. It's basically saying, do whatever you want in life. Who cares about the consequences, okay? And many occultists will say, oh, you're missing his real point. That's not what he meant by that. And they'll do some spin off. But, bro, if you take it at face value, that's what he's getting at, okay? Is that it's okay to, if you do something and you think that it's good, but society thinks it's bad, do it anyways because it's probably actually good. You know better than society. And I used to kind of think like that too, because you see so many things in modern day society that are amiss, that are off. But that doesn't mean that the basic things that they got wrong, okay? They didn't get the basics wrong, and trust me. So, anyways, it's basically saying do whatever you want in life. I used to think that as well when I was 13 to 17 years old. I thought that it was the pinnacle of true freedom. As I got older though, I realized that just because we initially want to do something doesn't automatically mean that we should do something or that it's right. You know what I mean? In fact, this is exactly how Satan gains a foothold into one's life. Satan would whisper in your ear, do whatever you want. It's okay. After all, it's your life, isn't it? Now, just because we can do something doesn't mean that we should do it, like I said. Okay? This dangerous ideology leads to every thought becoming an action because you think of something like, I want to do this, and they just jump right into it and do it. They don't think about the consequences, what could happen, whatever. And this is very dangerous, in my opinion. Allow me to elaborate. Let me set an example for you so that you can better understand this, okay? Here's the example. Someone disrespects me over and over, whether it be online or in person, maybe a combination of both, but they disrespect me over and over, okay? I want to punch them in the face several times for that, okay? Until he apologizes and goes, I'm so sorry. And not only that, until he apologizes and changes his ways. Because that's why I want to retaliate, is so he won't do that against me or against anybody in the future. It will teach him his lesson, right? So, I feel like vindicated and justified in me wanting to do that, okay? Now, if I have Crowley's little method of life in my head, I'm going to go do that, right? But just because I want to in that particular moment doesn't mean that I should actually go through with it, is my argument. If I actually end up physically hurting him, the door to many negative outcomes may just open right up in front of my face, and I might get hit with the door. Okay? So, like I said, someone talks smack to me. Then in retaliation, I beat them up, hypothetically. Then, guess what happens? Then I get arrested and I do 6 to 24 months in jail slash prison. Then he shoots or stabs me to get revenge. Then he gets 3 to 7 of his boys to jump me and get revenge. Then I get his blood into my eyes, my cuts, my mouth, or my body, and I get a disease from him when I'm punching him and punching him. His blood splatters into my eye or out my nose or in my mouth or in a cut that I have, and you can get a disease. Like, I know that's a really crazy one, like that's a far-fetched idea, but all of these possibilities open up when you do things like this, when you do what thou wilt. You know what I'm saying? So, then that was 4. Then I break my hand off of this cranium as I'm punching him. All these small bones in our hand break. Let's say I break like 3 to 5 bones. That stinks. We don't want that, right? Um, that's 5 examples. Then I feel so guilty afterwards, and I have to carry that guilt, which is a bad thing. Number 7, then I get bad karma. Karma comes back around in the future and gets me for what I did, right? That's 8 or 7 or whatever. Then God stops blessing me. God could cut you off and say, I didn't like what you did. And it wasn't just that, it was many things. And now I have to kind of let you be on your own for a little to teach you a lesson. Then people think I'm a psychopath because I stood up and took a stand against somebody who was disrespecting me because he was using his mouth, right? But I used my fists. And they're like, dude, if somebody uses their mouth against you and you don't use your mouth back, you're kind of a loser, like, because he was just talking crap to you, right? So you could just talk back. You could fight words with words. Why do you feel the need to have to get physical just because you know that you can beat him up because you train MMA now? Like, it's stupid, you know? And many more examples. That was just some that I thought of as I was writing. Took me 4 to 6 minutes. Boom, you know? Those examples could have kept flowing. So what started out as a thought, a compulsion to action, actually ended up being my downfall in this example. Okay? So, no, don't just do what thou will. Think before you act. Think of the consequences. I need you to pray for discernment. Pray to God. Say, God, please allow me to be enlightened over time. Please allow your wisdom to pour into me so that I may see things for what they truly are. Pray for discernment. Ask for intuition. We must categorize good versus evil and then stay on one side. Okay? This is where we get our power from. And evil is the same thing. They can't, like, I can't tell a lie. The more I tell a lie or another lie, the more I have to cover it up. And that takes away from my power of being on the side of good. Just like that, somebody on the side of bad gets so used to telling lies that it gets to a point where they can't even tell the truth. You know what I mean? So you have to stand on your respective sides. But when you do what thou wilt, you end up going from the good side to the bad side or the bad to the good or whatever. You're hopping all over the place and it gets messy pretty quickly, okay? So Crowley's message resonated with so many people because it erases our worry of repercussions, consequences, and accountability. Those 3 words, okay? It can quickly go from, I don't want to work today. Maybe that's a thought that you have, so then you don't work. And that's a minuscule example. And it can quickly go from something minuscule like that to let's drink adrenochrome because they want to look and feel young and they don't care how they get it. You know what I mean? Do what thou will, right? They don't care that the children need to get tortured and then extracted the blood so they can drink it. They don't care as long as they stay young looking and fresh and whatever, then whatever, right? The ends justify the means. Looking like a whole clown picture or whatever you call it right now. Okay, emoji. There you go, the clown emoji. In a way, this erases the concept of good and evil. Either that or it points to the Machiavellian theory of the ends justify the means. I agreed with Machiavelli when I was just 19 years old. I even put it in an old song. I agree with Machiavelli. The ends justify the means. That's why my pockets are never empty. Stay a step ahead and take the lead. So, you know what I mean? But I agreed with Machiavelli when I was 19 years old, but not today at 35 years old. My brain has shifted, okay? This is the beauty. Now, next. This is the beauty of most religions. Religions tend to teach us that there is good and there is evil. They command us to only do good and to always expose evil, okay? Now, here's the second part of Crowley's thing. He also says, love is the law, love under will, like love under desire. That sounds beautiful. That's more like hitting the nail on the head, man. That part sounds a lot better than the first part he said. The first part he said was, do what thou will. That is so blatantly anti God, okay? Do what thou will is exactly why America is now being ran by a bunch of Luciferian diaper sniffers, a bunch of weirdos in power, bro, at the top, because they continued to do what they will and do what they want, right? So you start to blur the line between good and bad, and before you know it, you're doing wicked things, and you don't even think it's that bad. They're sleeping like a baby. You think that affects them anymore? Their souls are like removed, dude. They're just like shells of their former selves because they do sick things. So this is the danger of listening to some of these occultists, bro. In my opinion, in my humble opinion. And then for the last page, look. It breeds people that only care about financial gain, personal success, feeding one's ego, always having to feed one's deepest and darkest desires, and constantly giving in to temptation. Do what thou will turns the seven deadly sins into a daily checklist, for crying out loud. Okay? It single handedly feeds and fuels pride, ego, and temptation. I got a revision for Mr. Crowley. Do what thou will, so long as it is universally positive for both oneself and others. Ha! There, I fixed it. Okay? Praise God. Follow Jesus, even if you only believe that he is merely an allegory for like our own like archetype of who we could become, like become like Jesus and be like him. Not the sense of walking on water and curing the blind, but the sense of going against the grain of today's modern way of life, and being different and loving your neighbor and helping people, and being giving instead of always trying to pull stuff in from others. Just give, just be a loving person and allow your heart chakra to pour and burst open and be a great person, you know? So that's all I got in today's topic. On today's topic, okay? So until next time, stay safe, be blessed, and live lavishly. I'm going to see all of you in the next one, and I love you all. Peace.